The CEO of Patreon is fighting back against social media companies that he says exploit users in order to sell ads. Now, Patreon is a platform where creators can share their work and raise money for it. At the same time, Jack Conte says it builds community between those creators and their audience. He says platforms like Instagram and TikTok take a much different approach.
The business model of these companies is to extract human attention from our brains like gold from a mine and to convert it into ad revenue. They call these feeds for you, but it's not for you.
I'm sure we can all relate to that. Now, I spoke to Jack Conte earlier and began by asking him exactly what is different about his approach.
The main thing that needs to happen is algorithms need to change. Right now, algorithms are prioritizing addicting us to our phones, right? Algorithms are essentially just machines that are trying to accomplish something. That's what an algorithm is. And if you look at these social media feeds, what is it that they're trying to accomplish? They're trying to addict us to our phones. At the end of the day, if they maximize attention, then they maximize revenue. That's the problem. But what if those machines were optimizing for something else? What if they were trying to accomplish something else? What if instead they were trying to help people get actual connection with each other? What if they were trying to get creators paid for their work? What if they were trying to put humans in control and give us agency over our own decisions? That's what we're trying to do, and it's at the core of what we're trying to accomplish with our product.
You know, Patreon, you have a track record for many people who really are so loyal to Patreon and has seen it transform their lives, their businesses. And this brings me to what you say is the second thing everyone should be doing, which is funding art, not ads. But I want to ask you how, because we all know it's the money from the ads that really pays for what a lot of people want to do, even pays for the art.
But it doesn't. It does kinda. But the thing is, you know, on Patreon, there are creators with maybe 100th of the number of members that they have subscribers on YouTube. And yet those creators are earning sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on Patreon, sometimes millions of dollars a year on Patreon. Overall, we've paid out $10 billion to creative people between, you know, fans and creators on Patreon over the last 12 years of Patreon's life. It's resulted in $10 billion of income for creative people. Over $2 billion a year is being processed from fans and being sent to creators. And that's with only 25 million paid memberships on Patreon versus billions of people on YouTube. So Patreon systems are a lot better, a lot more efficient, a lot more effective at getting creative people paid for their work. On these social media platforms, creators are expected to do free labor, essentially. And while there is some money for them, sometimes with these creator funds that dry up or disappear 2 years later, or with some occasional ad revenue from a viral video, creators aren't being actually and properly compensated for the labor that they're doing for these platforms.
And that it also links to another one of your points, which is put humans in control. But I ask you, tech companies are actively taking humans out of the equation. AI is telling us that humans are going to be, you know, less involved, not more so. So how do you change that?
I believe the opposite. And I think tech needs to wake up, honestly. I think next year it will become very, very clear. There's a premium on human-made work. People want to hear from other humans. They want to hear from other conscious beings who have real lived experiences and real emotions. We want to hear what they've learned, what they have to say, what their opinions are of the world. That's why people still tune in and listen to humans and watch humans and read human work. It's because humans actually matter. So yes, we do need to put humans in control. We need to give these platforms a sense of taste, a sense of editorial opinion, a sense of what's cool right now. And I think humans are better at knowing what's cool than algorithms are.
And so, Jack, even if everything you say is true and people work towards that, how do you work towards that? Like, how is TikTok going to change? How is Instagram going to change? How is YouTube going to change? I mean, what do you see happening here?
I think the only way that those platforms are going to change is if their businesses are threatened, because ultimately I don't believe that they exist to serve creators. And while that makes me sad to say, I think it's unfortunately true. If you look at the track records of their decisions, what they're really trying to accomplish is get humans to spend as many hours as possible on their phones in these feeds. And that turns out to be really bad for humans and really bad for creative people. So I'm skeptical that these businesses are going to change for any reason other than they're threatened. So I think it needs to start from other players. It needs to start from other companies like Patreon. There's a number of other platforms that are entering this space and trying to break up the monolithic social web and trying to build a better way. Patreon is a part of that movement. And how does it change? What do we actually do? We make sure that the machines on the other end of our phone are not optimizing for addiction. We make sure that they're optimizing for long-term relationships. And so what does that actually look like? It means when you follow somebody, you see their work. Right now, one of the key problems with TikTok is even if you follow a creator, you don't see their follow-up posts. You don't see their back catalog. You don't see or hear from that creator maybe for another 6 months. That's crazy. If you subscribe to somebody online, you should see their work. That's the way our algorithms work, and honestly, it's the way that all these algorithms should work.
And Jack, I only have about 30 seconds left, but to be clear, you're not talking about government regulation here. You are talking about consumers, users, influencers doing something different, going to other platforms.
That's right. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not sure the government can solve this problem. I think it's got to come from a new set of companies. I think it's got to come from people standing up and demanding something else, and finally expressing how frustrated and tired we are of participating in this ecosystem that isn't actually serving our interests. They call these feeds for you, but they're not for you. The feeds are not for you. The feeds are for them. And it's time we all realize that and do something about it.